Okay, great. Let's do it. So yeah, welcome everyone. This is the Shooting Game Weekly, episode 92. It's been probably about a year since the last episode. STG Yearly is the new name.
STG when STGW? STGW means STG whenever. Yeah.
We
STG whenever.
We might have to it's going to be an evolution. We'll change the name and it'll be it'll be better essentially.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, if you guys, STG Weekly means that you guys should be playing these games weekly. And if you want more content, watch all 91 of our episodes. And when you guys get all caught up watching them all, then then you can ask for more.
Exactly.
But thanks, guys.
Exactly.
But seriously, thanks again for being here. Our show's changed, and we're just keep on doing episodes. So thanks for being here.
Yes, thanks for the patience, and there are people that do come out of the woodwork and say, "Where are the episodes?" So I hear you guys, and we're here, and thanks to Frenetic as well. You kind of springboarded this episode from my severe laziness, but in any case, this is episode 92. We're going to be covering Zenodyne R. Also, just the regular Zenodyne as well. We'll be talking about how Zenodyne evolved into Zenodyne R and a bit about this game. It's available on Steam currently. Zenodyne R, the new game available for purchase. And we got some of the developers, one of the developers, and the audio guy joining us for this episode. Unfortunately, Kaiser, the lead coder programmer for this game, could not make it, but he is in fact listed in the episode. So we got BPzeBanshee, welcome to the show, and HeavyViper. Banshee is
pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's great. You're one of the coders of the game, and HeavyViper was responsible for the music. So yeah, what's up, HeavyViper?
Yeah, not too bad. Pleasure to be here.
So Zenodyne
What's up,
R.
BPzeBanshee? Oh wait, did BPzeBanshee get introduced?
He did.
Oh, okay.
In a roundabout way.
Nice. What up, BPzeBanshee?
What up, man?
Nice. All right. Just want to make sure you got in there too.
Okay, so Zenodyne R. From my perspective, I actually had not been following this game very closely myself. I know it had been in the works from the original game. I didn't even play the original game myself, but I watched some of these trailers and some of the gameplay that we're going to be looking at today, and this looks like a very kind of fast-paced, very kind of traditional type of shooter with kind of a traditional type of scoring too. You got kind of this meddling going on. Banshee, do you want to kind of introduce us to where did Zenodyne come from, and maybe you want to talk about a little bit about why Kaiser, I guess, wanted to make a game like this as well.
It's a little bit of a long story. I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. But essentially, before he started, has Team Grybanzer Fox, which is a core team now of sorts. When it was just Kaiser and myself, just dabbling with shoot 'em up game development and stuff. Zenodyne was the first game that we did together. It was built off a little thing that I'd done just as a side project through year 12 at school, which in itself started as a Flash game, ported over the Game Maker. Bit of a technical overhaul there. So went from that to the full game that you see, or that you will see, in the form of Zenodyne. And then from that, we kind of decided afterwards, to take it up a bit of a notch. So that's where Zeno Hell and eventually now Zenodyne R. Basically,
I was completely forgetting about Zeno Hell too. Geez, yeah. Where does that play into the timeline exactly?
It's an in between one. So the main common part in terms of the programming code side of things is probably my side project GMOS, which I still haven't bothered to get around to finish, but a lot of the game is running on that is because I do the back end code, so I'm like the back end programmer of sorts. So everything is built off GMOS essentially. And Xeno Hell was our first commercial attempt for going off that sort of springboard.
Okay.
Probably not going to touch, as Banana Manic's question on the chat, probably not going to touch a remake or anything like that for Xeno Hell in a while. I promise nothing. We do have plans for the future projects and stuff. We shall see. But yeah, that's with Zenodyne being how it was cute, you know. It was a cute little game. I thought we could do better. Kaiser thought we could definitely do better. So essentially from there we decided after, because Xeno Hell was more of a bullet hell sort of game as well, so we decided we'll go back to our grassroots a bit more. So what you see now is a bit, you know, with us being a bit more improved in our programming skills, a bit more improved in our gameplay making skills. It's a more polished product overall. To say it actually has anything in common with the original Zenodyne you'll see is a little bit of a stretch, I think. So it's more like it's been remade from the ground up.
So how did you get involved with the Zenodyne project with Kaiser and whatnot? Maybe we can start with there, and what your role exactly is in the Zenodyne group, or Team Grindfancer Fox, excuse me.
Well, basically, as I said, it all started with GMOS. So I was working on that, trying to get this game finished. Kaiser approached me about originally just for doing a bit of sprite work, just wanting to get a bit better for that sort of thing, because what I had was pretty utter garbage. Like, I could not draw a triangle to save my life.
Okay. So you were able to create the engine for GMOS, and then Kaiser came in with, let me draw some sprites for you. Basically,
yeah. And GMOS is still not finished, but we ended up going, platforming off that and going, let's actually make a proper game out of it. You handle the gameplay, I'll handle the engine stuff for it. So it's Kaiser mainly handles the gameplay side of things, what the enemies look like, what they're going to shoot, how it's going to be timed, so on and so forth. And I'm kind of like the rational mind, how do we make this happen? What's practical? How do we go about doing this? That sort of thing.
Wow, that's really amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
HeavyViper?
I like that.
Go ahead, Aqua. Sorry.
I just say, I like that too. Yeah, HeavyViper. What about you? How did you get involved?
How did I get involved? Around the end of last year, I'd say around October or November. I was just out of an audio course at a school in my state, and I was just making the rounds to forums that I frequent, just posting little samples of my work and saying, "Hey, I'm looking for work. If you like my sounds, maybe I could come make sounds for you." A couple of days after I posted in the dev forum on Schmops Farm, Kaiser reached out to me on IRC, and he laid out the idea for what became Zenodyne R, and he really liked my work, particularly with the Mega Drive sound chip. I had been messing around with stuff like that. Yeah. And after that, it was just a case of, hey, maybe make a few tracks, we'll see how it goes, and maybe we'll get you on to do the entire soundtrack. And I made like 1 or 2 tracks. I think I did the hangar or the ship select BGM and like a title theme.
That is really good. The ship select theme is so like foreboding, rather than like the hype, like da-da-da, you're going to choose your ship and then you're going to go fight. This one's like, it's kind of like a requiem for the pilot, because You're gonna die a lot, and we'll hopefully hear some of that. But very good ship selection music, I must say.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, that's kind of the feel I was going for. Like, you have stuff like Battle Garega, where it's kind of like it sounds a bit hopeful and everything when you're just about to launch, or maybe I should say Bat Rider. Yeah, I'm thinking of Bat Rider. But I wanted to go for more of a this isn't going to end well sort of thing. And that was, I guess, that mindset sort of carried over to most of the music for the game. But yeah, after I made those tracks, Kaiser and Banshee were like, yeah, this rules. So I was basically on board to do the music and eventually the sound design, although we used a lot of the old sounds from Xeno Hell.
It's really cool.
Mind you, there's a fair few sound effects that you ended up changing over time. So there's
yeah.
I made a lot of it was built from the code base, if you will, was built off Xeno Hell, but you wouldn't know looking at it now. I don't think it's pretty consistent.
It's a big visual improvement, I'll say that.
Yeah, it was good to have you on board. Anyway, it was when the subject of music came up, we were looking around, and then I'll go through the dev forum, and here's this guy, and he can do a really good version of Black Hole Sun on the Mega Drive. So let's get him on. Let's see what happens.
I like that you're going with like the whole Mega Drive sound thing like that. I think that like will bring in a lot of like the kind of the old shmup people type, you know, like because it really like I feel like a lot of like shmups nowadays is kind of like a nostalgia trip in certain ways, and I have to imagine that Kaiser, you guys perhaps kept that in mind a little bit with maybe that choice.
I'm fairly certain it was a factor, yeah. With
it being such a traditional style shoot 'em up as well. I mean, it doesn't have a health bar, right?
Nah. No, the only health bars are on the bosses, I assure you. But yeah, Kaiser and I are big fans of the Mega Drive and what it can do in terms of that sort of thing. So especially like getting to hear like a modern made soundtrack done using that environment for the game is pretty nice to hear for sure.
It sounds great. Like, you know, there are like Sega games that have bad music, and then there are Sega games that have good music, and the ones that had good music, like it was like, wow, this is what the Sega can do. And I feel like you conveyed that too in some of the music that I've only heard a bit so far, but so far, like, yeah, it sounds really nice. I like it.
I definitely, it was kind of a dream come true to be able to emulate the style, shall we say. So I was in the run up to actually going hard and making most of the soundtrack. I was looking at games like, you know, all the Toa Plan ports for Mega Drive, and even odd stuff like Veritex and Battlemania 2. So I did my homework, and I'm pretty sure it shows up in the final product, I gotta say.
Like right now, I'm getting vibes of Subterranea's music right now, if you're familiar with that game.
Oddly enough, yeah, I have a copy of that on my shelf.
That is a wonderful game. Anywho, so I've been playing back the trailer on the stream right here. It's a nice trailer, actually. It loops really nicely, and I like how it shows off 2 screens as well. But should we perhaps move on to the Zenodyne normal replay and maybe talk about how Zenodyne and I guess kind of what the Zenodyne was like, because we do have that footage. We're going to be looking at Zenodyne, a normal TLB clear, played by eMuser, who is not present. And we'll also be going for a Zenodyne R TLB EX all clear afterwards. That's the footage we'll be looking at today. So.
Oh, I just want to interject one more thing. BPZ and HeavyViper, who else makes up Team Grybancer Fox besides you and Kaiser?
Well, it's in the name in a way. It's the name of the company is actually made up of I think it's 4 people, the 4 original members of the team. So there's Gry, which is Gryzor, Banshee, Sir, Kaiser, and Fox, Sammy Fox from the forums.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sammy Fox is mainly responsible for the artwork this time around. So a lot of so Kaiser does the basic work himself in terms of just seeing how things look for the bear looks, and then he basically just goes and polishes it up or tears it down and puts it back together again if he has to. And he's Sam does a very good job with the artwork in general. He's been a pleasure to work with.
Okay. Yeah, good question. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, why don't we start talking about some the regular Zenodyne, I suppose, since we're gonna be checking on a replay here. I don't know, where do you guys want to start with just Zenodyne? I know you talked about it a little bit already, but should we just check out the game, check out the footage, and just comment on the gameplay as it goes then, or what do you guys think?
Yeah, fair enough. I'm game.
Okay. Well, let's cue it up then. Bring us up over there.
Yeah, it's a relatively short game, so it's where was I going with this? Yeah, you guys will see pretty quickly that it's a very different beast from the newest game that we've done now. And probably you could see why we decided to rebuild it from the ground up in the first place. But yeah, it's cute.
That was something I was wondering, if the game was rebuilt from the ground up. So it's good to know that now. Okay, cool. So humble beginnings for the Xeno games, right? Great. Okay. Well, all right. So we're all at 0, and I'm gonna just do a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. And we'll check out the Zenodyne normal TLB clear from the wonderful eMuser. Okay.
Rad.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, so the basic outline we had to begin with was with Zenodyne, keep it simple, keep the gameplay simple, make gameplay that works. We were pretty sick of the bullet hells that were going at the time. It was all the rage, and we've been very Raiden spoiled and influenced, if you will. So we went from that. To making this. This was actually built off a little thing I did called Warbird. It started off as a Flash game, was only about 30 seconds long, and then I ported it to Game Maker just for laughs, basically, more than anything. See how easy it was to do, and then because that was more approachable in terms of code than GMOS was at the time, Kaiser approached me about actually making a full game using that as a base, and then bringing in the other, more sophisticated stuff like joystick support and stuff later. So that's basically how the original Zenodyne came together. So program-wise, it's a little bit duct taped together. Sure. And I think it shows in a couple of spots, not very often, but you can see it is a very simple game overall. So we didn't want it to be unapproachable in terms of complexity either, so I suppose that was really what we were going for at the time. But yeah, I think we've come a long way since then.
It's nice to see, like the experience you guys would be gaining from these earlier projects, and then eventually we'll be taking a look at that Zenodyne R, because Zenodyne R, it does look pretty nice, I'll say. Comparatively, the explosion animation is really nice in that game. But any case,
yeah, Gryzor came on board with us pretty early on for this. He was the first part, apart from Kaiser and myself, to really join up with us as a team. And he handled a lot of the explosion code for that sort of thing. We had the original explosion sprite itself was actually something from Jabimos that was given to me from Substance 20, another user on the forums. It was something that, because that was something other people could pitch in stuff to as well. We've got a pretty good friendly dev community when it comes to sharing stuff, that's for sure. But yeah, he went and took the explosion stuff to the next level, and we thought that was pretty good at the time, but he's managed to top it off even more since then. So yeah, in terms of features and the like, especially the warning screen and that sort of stuff as well.
Oh man,
a lot of the art,
that guitar,
the artwork is yeah. Yeah, lovely. Heaven Variant was the soundtrack we used for the final game. We had two going for it. There was this, which was taken off the cancelled Heaven Variant game. It was a shame about that because it was looking pretty nice and 3D and stuff. But yeah, they had the soundtrack up for free download, and it was good mates between Kaiser and Jason, the main guy that made that. So yeah, in short, he was basically like, oh yeah, can I use the soundtrack for this? It's free, we're not doing anything with it. So it's like, oh yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we had that, and we did have a soundtrack for the game as well. It's by Railslave. He's ended up using a lot of portions of the soundtrack for this game for a few projects of his own now. So you may hear, in some of the other videos for it, you may hear stuff elsewhere now. So not too bad sounds in itself.
So you want to talk about the meddling that's going on in this game, or some of the mechanics in this game that, because I know there's still meddling in Zenodyne R, so I mean there are some similarities, right?
Yeah, there's definitely a few common points. Basically what we did was, a lot of it was built around in the original game, was meddling. So collecting medals, and then through that actually increased your bomb gauge, so that was tied to your resource collection as well. So once you can see on the bottom left of the screen, once your bomb gauge goes to a full meter, you get, one full bomb of sorts. Basically the medals are all for different colors. They're a certain value, if memory serves, or a certain amount of medals. So your golds are just single medals, your greens are like 5 medals at once. And you get the amount of points per medal. So you get just get the one thing, and it's like getting 5 medals. And then that's increased by a multiplier, which you can see at the top left corner of the screen there. As you collect more medals and increase the multiplier, you end up basically increasing the medal value, if you will. What it really boils down to is just collect as much as you can and shoot stuff. So we kept it pretty simple.
Yeah, it looks like...
as though... Sorry, it looks as though collecting medals also fills up a bomb gauge down the bottom?
Yeah, so it collects stuff for your bomb gauge, and once you get your full meter for that resets, you get an extra bomb.
Generous.
It helps eventually for your lives as well. You can see Emu's already at like stage 4. He's not even died once. So he's got like 11 lives or something ridiculous. We balanced it for our skills at the time, and he completely wiped the floor with the game. So pretty crazy stuff. We didn't think it was doable. Oh boy, were we wrong. The other thing I should probably mention is also the blue ring that's around the ship. That's basically a medal upgrade, if you will. So you've got like your normal upgrades that just upgrade your weapon up to a certain point. And then there's also, which I think was a green and gold icon if memory serves. And there's also a blue one that gives you that. And what it basically does is it just helps you collect your medals more easily. So instead of just dropping down to the bottom as they do, you get close enough to them and they actually suck into the ship.
Yeah, I noticed you have a lot of fast attacks in this game. So
yes,
it looks like,
very Raiden inspired. Very.
Yeah, so it looks like you should be moving like pretty much at all times, basically. At least a little bit.
Just need a few sniper tanks coming up from the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, that was one thing we didn't have much for in the game. Was there's certainly variety enough in terms of like aircraft and that sort of thing, but not much in terms of ground or land units, and that's definitely something you will see. That's also something that I feel was a little bit lacking in Xeno Hell as well, which we definitely rectified with Zenodyne R. You'll definitely see a lot more for sniper tanks and all that sort of wonderful goodness in our newest game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's the two different power-ups there. Oh, I forgot we had lasers. We didn't continue that idea. We had lasers in the original game. That's not something we really wanted to come back to. That was a pain to program, actually. Yeah. Not really that much else to talk about in terms of the game. We kept it pretty simple for the most part, so you can see he's just ripping the game to pieces. So much metals. A lot of the layouts, like the basic gist of what you're doing in the stage, so like, you know, in terms of going up from the clouds into space and then dealing with moon bases, that sort of stuff we tried to keep in Zenodyne R, but yet you'll see it's very much built differently. We went from this to a more simple background layer for Xeno Hell, and then we decided to kick it up a couple of notches entirely and go with more of a tile-based system. So it's more like your old school ones where you've got your buildings, your roads. You know, tanks will go along some of the roads, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, this looks like a fun little experience, and yeah, like you say, Zenodyne R was built from the ground up, so this is basically just a completely different game, so people shouldn't shy away from even trying this one, eh?
Yeah, as long as we've, I would have to check just to make sure we've actually got working download links for it at the moment, because it's been, you have to understand, this was several years back, if memory serves, it was about 2013, I think. So about 3 years ago. Goes back a bit. Also built on a rather dated version of GameMaker too, so I'm not too sure how well it'll work on newer systems. I know there's been a few audio issues with the games and that sort of stuff, and then there was issues with this at launch too, with regards to recording with the music side of things. We were using an external device for that, which most operators like open broadcast system and the like didn't really cooperate with at the time. It's a bit we've come a long way from that now though. So
this looks kind of serious.
So we're up to the yeah.
Ooh, that's a fun
the true
one.
final boss.
Oh yeah, here we are. Okay, so was there a condition for the TLB then?
It was pretty simple from memory. It was as long as you had a certain amount of bombs and didn't lose too many lives, basically, you could get up to them.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact number for it, though. Kaiser, if he was here, would be able to elaborate more on that. I think it was like keeping most of your lives and having the 3 bombs, so...
Word.
Generally, if you're pretty good at the game, you didn't. You'd end up there. So
I don't think he died at all there. I don't think I saw a death. Anyway, it looked like a pretty sweet game.
Yeah, it's cute.
I mean, when it's so short, it's like, yeah, might as well try it out, eh?
Yeah. It's okay. I think, definitely as a whole in terms of art and also gameplay programming direction, we've come a long way from that. So definitely worth a shot, I suppose, for a little 10-minute blast. It's a reasonably short game, but only 12 minutes if you use your bombs like InUser did. The bombs are very aggressive bombs, so you can use them to pretty much pretty quickly kill bosses and that sort of thing. They're very offensive weapons. We switched from that to a more defensive layout this time around. We'll be messing with that in the future, don't you worry.
Cool.
But yeah, definitely a nice little game to play, but we've got more.
Once again, that was Zenodyne normal, just the regular Zenodyne. We are yet to check out Zenodyne R, which is the feature of this episode. We can probably get into that pretty quickly here. It's going to be a bit of a longer replay, around 33 minutes, so I suppose we can probably jump right into it, unless we have any other questions we'd like to fit in, or comments we'd like to fit in. I think there was a couple of questions in the chat, but I think half of them were trolls, so... How big was the hitbox for the ship in that game anyway? Was it pretty much?
It was reasonably large compared to. I think InUser had it turned off for the game, so it didn't really show it. But it was more of a. It was definitely smaller than the ship. I can tell you that much. It wasn't that not Kuzo bad, but was you look at basically the center of the ship. The grey part between the wings, if you will, was basically an elongated square. Basically, it was pretty. It was reasonably large, but we did build it around the patterns too, so it doesn't really feel that bad to play. We did have some criticisms for it, though. We went back to plain simple 1v1 hitbox straight afterwards, so
okay. Well, before we get into Zenodyne R, do you guys want to mention any the basic stuff? I guess there's multiple characters in the game, that type of stuff. Just very briefly before we start it.
So there's I don't know, HeavyViper, you've played a few of the later ships more than me, if you want to say something, but we've got five ships this time around. Anyway, so you start off playing how do I put it? You start off with one ship anyway, and then as you go through playing the game multiple times, you unlock the others. As you go through. The first ship is more of the well-balanced sort of one, and that we try to keep it as balanced as possible. And then it goes from that to a relatively slow-ish ship. It's got your wider shots, and it's balanced a bit differently. If memory serves, I think InUser uses the third ship in this, which is more of a straight shooter, but it's balanced very differently. It's more in line with the idea that with the speed key held down, that it also increases the fire speed, so you're actually shooting more. And as long as you can manage the ship speed, you're good to go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, guys, you got one sale already from this episode. System 11 has purchased Zenodyne R.
Base System 11.
Now, if everyone does that at the same time, well, you'll get another STG Weekly episode. Anyway,
thanks for the support, guys.
In general, not much I can add to what Banshee described, but in general, as he said, you start off with the original balanced ship.
Okay.
I'd say that the ships get more technical as you unlock them. So that's just how it felt to me. Also, quite recently, Kai updated the game with an extra bonus ship that's available from the start, if I recall correctly. It's from
yes, the
Fire Arrow.
ship.
Yeah. Because we had a few grumbles that people were a bit unsatisfied with just one ship at the start. So that's a nice change.
Okay, cool. Let's jump right into it, shall we?
Cool. I'll get my window up.
Also, we just want to let you guys know that the game is on sale right now. So buy it while you can, right?
It's the Steam Summer Sale.
Steam Summer Sales. Make the most of it. There's also, apart from the game separately by themselves, there's also the Xeno Archives bundle that you may be interested in. That's got both Zenodyne R, Xeno Hell, and I think it's got the options for soundtrack for the newest game there as well, which is definitely worth having a listen to because it's very cool. I'm a big fan of the main menu theme myself.
Excellent. Okay, let's get right into it. Zenodyne R, this is played by the eMuser, and this is the EX all clear. Let's get right into it. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. He picked the blonde girl with the glasses. So the base is exploding, and now you're off.
Basically, yeah. And so the first half of the game is you going through, just a surface, out general city, river area, and then you go up into space, and it sort of resembles the original game there, and that's probably about as close as it gets to the original there. We really did go from scratch, style-wise with this. So, medal system for this game is very simple. Basically, you've got your small medals that's given to you from your smaller enemies, large medals from your larger enemies. Where you make the most amount of additional scoring, if you will, is in the boss fights. The quicker you kill the bosses, the more medals you get, the more worth they are for it. And then from there, you've got as you see, you've got your easy, hard routes. So rather than having different difficulty options off the bat that you pick in the menu, you got your one difficulty mode, one game, and then you choose the routes at will. So your harder routes are ideally supposed to be more rewarding, but more challenging also at the same time.
Is it like it's not like a Outrun or Darius style branching, right? Or is it
not that extreme?
Okay.
We had some considerations for that, but we didn't want to go too crazy. We thought this was going pretty experimental as it was. It's very strictly a 2-route sort of thing, and then as you go through it, depending on the stage, it sort of goes back to your main one at the end. So like the boss, same boss, but difficulty is dependent on the route that you pick. So in this case, eMuser's picked the harder boss, so it's got the harder patterns and an extra phase at the very end of it.
It is a very clear difference between the easy and hard routes, I must say.
Cool. That is nice. I mean, you don't want to overwhelm everyone. I mean, releasing a shmup and all that, throughout the years in arcade shmups, the trend was to make them more difficult and more difficult, as we saw with Cave games. And then finally Cave started adding difficulty selection with death smiles and stuff like that, trying to tailor to some people who are new to the genre. So it's good to keep that stuff in mind, I think, definitely, for more novice players.
Yeah, well, we didn't really want to, there's been attempts on trying to, make a compromise, if you will, for newcomers and that sort of stuff. And Kaiser and I aren't really big fans of the trend that was going for, stuff like auto bombs or death bombs and that sort of shenanigans. We didn't really want to go with that.
Yeah.
And we didn't really want to go with what Cave does, like a novice mode for some games. We did try that with the original Zenodyne. There was one where you had your easy and normal mode pickable from the menu, and by and large it didn't really do us any favors. So
So how about the weapon types? Is that something you changed from picking up a power-up, or is that just a different button, or...?
It's a different button. So you've got one button for shooting. You've got your bombs, which are more of a screen clear defensive sort of thing now. And then you've got your what would normally be your focus button. In the case of this ship, it's designed a bit differently. It actually speeds the ship up rather than speed it down. So it kind of makes it a bit more hyperactive, if you will. You may notice the fire rate coming from with the green bullets is actually changing here and there. That's when he presses down on the focus button. It's actually where the fire rate's going up.
Focus button confirmed. Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. So generally, the main ship that you start off with is a lot more conventional. So you've got your start off with a relatively straight shot. You hold down the focus button, you've got a wider shot that's got still a bit of center focus, but generally wider, and also slows you down a bit so you can weave between patterns, if you will.
Game's got definitely like a kind of Tatsugen feel. Even those bombs, the bomb icon looks very Truxton inspired.
Yes. Yes. Sam Fox was definitely very Truxton oriented. I have to confess it's actually one of the few tile-playing games I haven't played, but I have heard nothing but good things about it, and was very keen anyway. It was more of a Fire Shark guy myself.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
But yeah, it's definitely the old school influence is definitely there, I think.
Can confirm that Tatsugen was a big influence on the soundtrack as well, as it was one of my first arcade shmups.
Oh, wow, excellent, cool. That game has great music. Some of the best, I would say.
Yeah, the soundtrack for this stage actually gives me a lot of Vimana vibes, I find.
Banana? Wait, who?
Vimana.
Oh, Vimana.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the only games that's currently, in terms of emulation stuff, you actually can't hear the music for it without samples, which is a bit of a shame, but yeah. Decent game, bit long.
Yeah, I'm digging this. Like this tune too. Dun, 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 dun. That's badass. Good job, man. Oh, I'm kind of hype. I'm kind of hype.
I'd say Stage 2's theme is probably where I hit full stride, and I really finally decided where I wanted to take the soundtrack.
What was that TMR counter when you're attacking the boss there?
That's simply the boss timer.
Timer.
So the basically the lower the number when you kill it, or kill a phase of it anyway, the more medals that you get. The amount of medals you get is directly tied to the time spent killing it.
Oh, so that's what's going on there. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, but your basic goal is to kill off the boss as fast as possible, really. Emu's has been skipping it through pretty fast, but you can see also a thing called tech points. That's not really tied in so much with the game itself, but that is the unlock system that we have in place for, getting the different content and ships, that sort of stuff. You get a certain amount of tech points to end up unlocking the second ship, so on and so forth. More continues.
Okay. I was thinking that might have been like a multiplier or something like that, but
yeah, okay. No, nothing too crazy. We didn't want to we didn't want to put too much emphasis on like level clear bonuses either. So it was more so like what you do through the stage, how well you can kill things off. So there's definitely more focus on the game there. Your stage clear is sort of just a breather between stages more than anything else, which I suppose is what your stage clears are really meant for in the first place. So,
quick question here: what does the R mean in Zenodyne R?
We generally go for remake, if you will, because it's
really good.
For lack of a better term, or
Revised, revamped, any number of R words.
Renovated.
Cool.
How about revisited? Revisited.
Yeah, that's certainly a good one. I like that.
Reconstructed.
Revisited is nice.
I'm a bit of a car nerd, so I just look at it like it's the better version or a step up from the original Zenodyne. So
got some environmental objects here. Now, is it lenient as far as crashing into the wall, or what's it?
No, it's not.
It's not. Okay.
So you hit the walls, you will die.
Awesome.
We were considering a more lenient option for it at the time. The programming niceties for it weren't really there, so we decided against it. Just keep it simple. The stage has been built around that assumption where if you get hit, you will die, though. So we didn't want to have too much shenanigans like death smiles, where, for example, if you're going up a hill and you get squished or something up against a wall and it acts out weird. We didn't really want any of that. So
sure. That can be a little weird sometimes.
Not like a super sped up like Gradius game, right? Where you kind of go
that's stage
really
6.
fast. Okay.
Nice.
Also, I just wanted to interject. This kind of reminds me of Bosconian's sequel, Blast Off, where you're kind of in the space station, and you have this like environmental stuff in the space station, or maybe a little bit of Ikaruga flavor.
Yeah, I can't say we were terribly Ikaruga inspired per se, but there's certainly been a bit of influence from the horizontal games and that sort of stuff there, which we tried to bring over to the vertical environment. Something that I did with GMOS when I started for stage. I was very Glaylancer inspired when making GMOS, so if you guys happen to see any videos of that later on, you can definitely you look at it and you'd be like, yes, vertical Glaylancer. But there's a lot of walls and stuff in stage 2 for that as well, which is sort of where we got the idea from, and it's just as unfriendly. To answer Banana Manic's question, by the way, with the root system, there is only the 2. If you happen to line up at the exact dead center, we did account for that. It defaults to the hard root, I believe.
Yeah, take that. You try to go through the middle, you get hard. I like that.
I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it goes to the hard and not to the easier route. Yeah. It's definitely accounted for anyway. So,
if you won't choose your fate, you will for them.
I'm sorry, I want to jump in and say I really appreciate you leaving in my really stupidly long track name that goes off the side of the screen.
Oh man, didn't notice.
Yeah, we have the music system as a music config, if you will, that has the track names and stuff that we use. So we display it at the beginning of the stage. Light blue on dark blue background makes it a little bit hard to see here, but it's
it's classy.
Yeah, classy.
Kind of a rising inspiration there.
It's nice. I mean, music is such an integral part of shoot 'em ups, so it is nice to have that like focus, I think. No, slow down a bit now on this stage.
A little bit, yeah. It starts to, it makes up for it in the second half. I'll let you guys watch it. There's a bit of a technical drama to get this one going, I'll have you know. It was the first time I've actually had to try and split a stage into 2 different rooms, if you will. K-Maker operates on a room basis, so you have one thing going in room, one thing going in another, and you just transition between rooms. Pretty convenient. except for when you're trying to, keep it flawless on a per stage basis.
It is interesting to hear the unique challenges, so feel free to interject those.
Yeah, for sure. As to Banana Manic's other question, no, the width of the field is not an odd number. We use a equal to or greater than calculation. So the normal game res is 240 by 320 pixels, which of course you can, the full screen at upscales and all that. So I got to thank Brodsky for the background on this. He helped me a lot in terms of getting it working here. I got the basics for it going, but there is a bit of an issue in terms of it would upscale, but it would start to slow down because of an issue in one of the scripts I was using. I didn't notice, but he has a very keen eye for these sort of things, so he was able to spot it and also pitch in a little bit for code suggestions, which is very handy.
It's interesting to hear like some of these details, because it's like we take for granted like all these things, and a lot of shmups that have been released, commercial shmups that probably were a pain in the ass to do, and etc. And like, was it necessary? Was it not? Etc. I just think of like the presentation for Strania, for example. Like that game's off the wall with the presentation.
Oh yeah,
like
that's G Web's title, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a definitely pretty full-on 3D shooter sorts, that one. We're still considering our options of 3D ourselves, but at the moment, it's probably, you're not going to see anything for that anytime soon. I find, unless you can do 3D art really, really, really well, this is just my personal preference, but I find 2D looks better, so...
Getting a bit more busy here.
Ooh. Yeah, so this is the equivalent of the train segment that you would have seen in the original Zenodyne. We definitely stepped it up a notch here. So rather than having just a single train has a line coming down, it's actually in segments, which we use for segmented boss fights. So they're supposed to be like train carriages, if you will. A little bit Raiden Fighters inspired with the moving of the backgrounds around the place, but yeah.
Well, to me, the music even sounded like kind of something out of Raiden Fighters with that crazy wobble bass line thingy.
Yeah.
This particular track, there is one later that's really Raiden Fighters inspired, but this one in particular, I was summoning my inner Sota Fujimori from the Shin Contra soundtrack.
Oh, really? Okay.
Ah, yeah.
The track Battle Train in particular was a big inspiration.
Neat. I might have to throw that into the YouTube description for a comparison.
Yeah, the first thing that came to my mind when hearing this track for the first time was definitely the train segment of Raiden Fighters 2, which was really which was part of the inspiration for us doing this train part in the first place. So. Oh, he does make it to the Omake, yeah. So first 3 stages, you have your choice of your easy, hard routes. Once you go past that point, if you do all 3 stages picking the hard side, you basically get locked onto the harder part through the rest of the game. So stuff like that extra tank at the end will show up. Couple other things like that. I don't think through to the end of the game we didn't make things too extreme in terms of difference. So you will eventually, either way, whether you go for easy or not, you will eventually come to a pretty challenging part of the game. But I think that the hard parts are also required for the TLB fight, which is a very different beast this time around.
Okay.
And this was our little nod to Xeno Hell in the stage. We had a lot of we sort of did D-makes, if you will, like simplified versions of the Xeno Hell bosses that we had for the stages for this one. Yeah, so definitely a bit of a focus on the boss fights here, I think. More than anything, you still see a little bit of the sniper tanks and stuff going around the place, but by and large, this point of the game, it starts becoming more about the boss fights for saving your ass, getting all the score and that sort of stuff. Best track in a game too for music.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a standout track in retrospect.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of Strider Returns on the Mega Drive a little bit. The game sucked, but the music was really cool. Yeah. What else to talk about? So much things. Any questions or anything else anyone is looking to know, feel free to mention something in the chat. I'm pretty keen to answer most things.
That's a unique looking mid-boss.
Yeah, it was a funny one, that one. From stage 4 of Xeno Hell, he was designed a little bit funnily like that. It was Kaiser's attempt at doing like a cave aspect ratio sort of going on mech thing. It was supposed to have been a tank on a highway. It didn't quite come out like that, but
okay.
Yeah.
The reject child mid-boss.
Basically, yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, and then this one was like the stage 5 boss that showed up before the satellite that I think we had in Xeno Hell. You basically went and fought an alien armada and had these bosses and stuff pop up, and then that thing popped up.
Oh, there's one of the song titles going across the screen.
Yeah, we have a recurring boss, if you will. Yes, the Mecha of Doom.
Hey, Rail Slave made it in the chat, and yeah, Kaiser is absent, unfortunately.
Good to see you, man.
As we mentioned earlier, he was did some of the music for the original Zenodyne. That was what it was, right?
Yeah.
Welcome,
yeah,
welcome.
and I don't think we heard it too well in the video. I've got everything muted, so it's a little hard for me to hear. But yeah, there was one track of Rail Slaves that managed to survive the Mega Drive vacation, if you will. That was used for the final phase of the hard boss in stage 1. Pretty good track. Should listen to it sometime.
So here you have like some type of like screen scrolling now. Like
yeah, so this is stage 6. Yeah, so we didn't quite go as ridiculously fast as Gradius. We didn't want to be that unfriendly. But yeah, this is pretty... this cool. is the final stage of the game, if you will. It's split into 3 rooms. This is the first part. There's one part that's more like a... You know, another alien armada of sorts, I suppose you could describe it that way. And then it goes to, you know, your alien base with more... you know, turret sort of base things and the final boss. This was a pain in the neck to get to work, actually. It was funny story with that.
yeah, it's not too fast, it's not too slow either. I like the pace.
Yeah, we tried to keep it pretty well balanced. With this part of the game, we didn't want things, especially I personally have had a really bad experience with Gradius. Ooh, nice dodge there.
Yeah, he was like, what? He made it seem like he didn't know where to go.
Yeah, that one gets me every time.
Well, wasn't it Takahashi made Jin? He was talking about it one time, and he says, if playing shmups really well usually means that you're destroying everything near the top of the screen, but to make it more exciting for people to watch, you can intentionally hold back at times and let things get really close before you blow them up. So might have been a bit of that.
Yeah, certainly a little bit of the influence there. But yeah, we've definitely taken our inspirations from the horizontal stuff, and also in terms of what not to do from the horizontal stuff. So we didn't want to make it too ridiculous for the collidable segments. So ideally, if you die in this game every time, it should be your fault and not a programming issue in the game, basically, is what we were going for.
Well, this part looks fun.
Yeah, fun fact, I didn't do much in terms of gameplay side of things, but the red ships that you see doing the rotation stuff was my doing. We needed a little bit something extra for the earlier stages, so I made the original blue enemy that turned depending on what direction that your player is at. So if you're to the left side of the screen and the enemy comes up from the right, it'll turn left, so on and so forth.
Schmidt 13.3.
Yeah, this is one of the later forms of our little mecha friend.
The reject from earlier?
The other one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of ones in the game, but that mecha in particular is sort of like a Bastionette, if you will, from Mahou Daisukusen, is the recurring boss that likes to come back with its score to settle.
Oh, nice background animation. That's really sick.
This is my favorite stage to look at, actually.
Yeah, the backgrounds they've been pretty good most of all. Like some of them maybe not as remarkable as this one, but they've been different colors in general and seem to be fairly detailed. So it's nice to have. Yeah,
we've been trying
to
earlier on. We tried to keep it very simple, but yeah, this time around, Kaiser just went full ball with this one. It was. I did not quite expect them to go that crazy for it.
Yeah,
I know you spent a lot of time
awesome.
thinking about how to get it going and working properly, so yeah, kudos to him on that. I think Kaiser's been predominantly doing most of the background work without much of Fox's help too. So it's been good having Fox on board for dealing with the enemies and stuff, so Kaiser can focus on his own art skills for that side of things.
Fast bullets there.
Very fast.
Tap, 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 tap.
Yeah, tap dodge is your friend here.
I imagine, some of the other ships are a bit, you can use that slower focus and make it a bit easier to dodge this type of stuff, but Emuser seems to be, I'm guessing he's using one of the faster ships.
Yeah, so and because the ARV, the Alien Replica Vehicle, is what it stands for. Any alien UFO conspiracy theorists would have probably known that already, but yeah, so it's you press down the focus button and it actually speeds the ship speed up as well as the fire rate. So he's having to deal with a reasonably fast ship that operates okay by itself, that goes even faster when holding the focus button. So doing that sort of stuff, some things have been made easier for him as a result, some stuff is harder. It is a tactical ship in terms of that choice.
Core.
Here's the first phase of the final boss now.
Cool. Oh, it's like
some very Brian Schmidt inspired music here.
That's sick how he's on like the kind of hologram platform. I like that. Oh. Yay, this background's back.
Yeah.
Now it's going the other way.
And it changes as you go through the phases too. There's a couple of phases to it yet.
Oh, this is a cool boss. Just a big round jerk guy. Oh, nice. Oh, metal shower.
This is the more Ride and Fighters inspired track. Don't know how much of it we'll hear though.
Oh yeah, there it goes. Ride and Fighters music is hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was a big fan of Ride and Fighters Jet back in the day, personally, so it was definitely a welcome music to my ears. I don't think it would be too arrogant of me to say, though, that what HeavyViper's done here is possibly even better.
Maybe,
I reckon
yeah.
Jet was the one I had in my local arcade, actually. Might have been.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Jet's what got me into shmups. I love that game. But yeah, the music in that game is so distinct sounding.
Yeah.
If you really listen
it really
to
fits well with what's happening in the game and
True.
not much else.
Yeah. There's a couple of decent tracks in there that you can just
Man, he's
listen
just
to, but
ripping through the bosses very fast with this shit, but oh my god.
man. Yeah, what I like about this green shot is so many like little bullets that are comprised of it that are going really fast. I like that. It makes it seem like it's very powerful.
Yeah, we had to go through quite a few. We had to go through quite a few iterations to get the player shots going.
Interesting how it kind of fans out too.
Yeah, so this is the true final boss now. He's a bit of a bastard, this one.
Damn. He's just doing different patterns all over the place. Slow, speeds it up. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's even faster. Oh,
wiggle,
that
wiggle,
dodge.
wiggle.
He just took that one.
Yeah, and now that he's lost a few lives, he's also lost a bit of his power up, so now his ship's going to be a bit slow for the fire rate too, which is not helpful to him. He's going to need all the lives for it. I think he said the first time he managed to clear this, because he's cleared it multiple times, he got it with literally nothing to spare. No resources, no bombs, no extra lives.
I like how he was moving with the boss there to try to help dodge that. That was a good strat, I thought. Oh man, he did it.
To answer Rail Slab's question, I took the back seat this time around with that, so I used to be very meticulous with trying to keep the music beat going to the boss patterns and stuff, but this time around I let Kaiser handle the direction there.
Yeah, was there some of that?
Good job, MU Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
It's especially noticeable on some bosses, but yeah.
You did go for some musical cue type stuff then.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I just made the music, and then I was playing the pre-build one day, and I noticed, it's synchronized to the beat. That's pretty awesome.
Those touches can be hard to find in some shmups that I think are trying to do it. So I imagine it's a little difficult to try to really fit that in. But when the player notices it, though, it's a really cool feeling, I think.
It's always one of my favorite things to see, either in games or in animation or something like that. I think it's a really cool effect.
And I've made the analogy multiple times before on the show where shoot 'em ups are kind of like a DJ mix in a way, comprised together, and it's kind of interesting how things end up coming together as a whole presentation, like a 20-minute thing or a 30-minute thing, just a long mix. So you got a epilogue here, all the story. So yeah, what about the story in Zenodyne? Let's talk about that a bit.
Yeah, so basically it's unlocked via everything's unlocked via the tech points. You might have seen the little displays coming up in the score tally screen. Depending on how well you play, you earn more and more skill points, let's say, and you unlock extra ships, extra credits, and lore, and that's the main way that we get the story going in the game.
Mm-hmm. You know, talk about like just the basic premise of the story without spoiling it, I guess.
We kept it. It's a little bit elaborate, but essentially you've got a series of corporations, or organizations, if you will. They've had a little bit of advance warning from the previous game about the oncoming alien invasion, so they've built these extra ships, different types of ships beforehand, based on a few things. So it's basically the traditional aliens come to wipe out Earth, but with a little bit more of a twist.
See that nanocore building in the background. I restarted the replay. So the nanocore building at the beginning of the stage.
Yeah, it's a shame that Kai isn't here, actually, because that's he could go into his personal canon. Goes back into a Doom mod that he worked on in the past. So he's got his kind of overarching storyline.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
From what I know of it, it starts with you've got your main corporations consisted of Nanocore, which was like the main evil guys in the original Soul Crusher game. You've got Rising Sun, which were like a mercenary force, which were hired by Nanocore and then do backstabby sort of stuff like typical mercenary business people do. And then you've got there wasn't much elaboration of it in the final product for Soul Crusher, but there was also Neo Earth, which is sort of like a Greenpeace gone terrorist basically. And the alien replica vehicle in this game is actually a product from Neo Earth. So it's sort of like Nanocore built the G85, Rising Sun built the second ship, the Dualizer, I think it's called, and and this is the Neo Earth's one. And then there's a few other cameos from like random characters and stuff later on in the game that we won't elaborate on too much for spoilers, but
okay. There's a question from the chat room. Lord Satori makes the comment, this reminds him of Blue Resurrection. Do they share a common engine, he asks, or she asks? Probably he.
There's probably a question better for Kaiser on that one. I've not played the game, but I'm going from the time... when did that one come out? It was 2009 or so, I think. Blue Ridge Resurrection came out. I could be wrong. Maybe it's older.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, so like chances are it's probably... I'm a little bit more old-fashioned, so it's probably influenced from whatever Blue Ridge Resurrection is based off in some ways. We definitely were a little bit Radio Zond and Hellsinker inspired for some parts too, so... We didn't go too crazy with the visual aesthetic like Hellsinker does, but there's definitely a little bit of influence there.
I like it. You got a lot of nice touches, a lot of various things, different ships and stuff. Looks like you guys made a solid product here. I'm impressed.
Thank you. We tried our best. Definitely pulled all the stops this time.
And of course, it's always nice to see some fresh shmups on Steam. It's becoming more and more of a thing nowadays to see shoot 'em ups getting released on there, whether they be indie or even the commercial groups have been following now. Triangle Service and Cave.
Yeah,
putting out games on Steam.
It's been really good to see people like Triangle on. Yeah. Well, when we started with Xeno Hell, I think Cave announced their moving to Steam like within a couple of months after we did it, if my timing memory serves me right. And there was only a handful of things from Dejica at the time, which has since really quite grown a bit. I think Raiden 4 had just come out as well, which was good to see. At the time, the Zeno Hell was also the cheapest game on the market too. So it's like you look at Raiden 4 and it was like $20. And we were going for $10. We didn't think we could. We didn't want to try to feel like we were ripping people off or anything like that. So,
at the same time, it's like a lot of those games are re-releases and stuff, though, too. But I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, probably the biggest success story, of course, would be Crimson Clover. World Ignition is definitely a very popular launch there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of people know that game.
Advertising support too, so
it's nice. It seems.
I suppose you could say we were a little bit inspired by that as well. We certainly had a lot of inspiration for a few things in the game, that's for sure. I think the end product certainly comes off as being its own beast. No, it's $9 for Ikaruga now. It's gone down.
Yeah, there's other shmups available on the Steam Summer Sale as well.
Oh, yeah, because there's a summer sale. Yeah, of course.
So pick up this game, of course, and maybe consider some others as well. I believe the Shooting Love Collection is also part of that, and probably some others as well. I mean, Steam sales are just crazy.
Yeah.
Especially the summer sale. It's notorious, right?
Yeah, I've sort of been a bit cautious with the stock market at the moment in terms of currency conversions. Poor us Aussies have to go by the United States dollar for anything on Steam. But yeah, so it's certainly a good time to be picking up on some shoot 'em ups if you haven't got many yet, or if you're looking to get a few interesting ones. I highly recommend Triangle Services titles. Big fan of G-Stream Delta Zeal here. In some ways, we were a little bit inspired by that to go with the stage routes. Not too crazy with it, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's an excellent time to be a shmup fan on PC.
For sure.
With the exception of maybe some overly ambitious titles. Sounds a bit like Blarius. Most of them are fairly affordable, and it's a pretty easy genre to get into at this point.
It's nice. It's somewhat of another rebirth, I guess you could say, because people still are interested. It's just like they gotta see the game. They gotta think like this is something I probably would like, and even younger gamers, I think, recognize the fun in a shmup if they see it. It looks fun. It's still shmups. The formula never really changes. It's always going to be fun if it's fun.
I think one of the best things about shmups is it's a very honest genre. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's there's not a lot to hide the core game. You can't really obscure it with like plot or acting or any kind of trickery. If you want to make a shmup, you have to make it a good core game. There's no really way to
it's pure gameplay essentially.
It shares some in common with racing games in a way, I think.
In that,
that's a fair comparison. Yeah,
I kind of see that. I was gonna ask, how did the process of getting this game Steam greenlit go for Team Grab Answer Fox?
It went reasonably well. There was a bit of work involved. It was more harder the first time around with Zeno Hell, mainly because we hadn't done it before.
Okay.
As the Steam license agreements and various stuff with Valve that had to be set up properly once we got greenlit for that game. So Kaiser handles most of that now. A lot of it I tried to read and it went way over my head, so thank God he's on board. But yeah, this time around, in terms of going through Steam Greenlight, it was certainly, I should mention while we're on the subject as well, we're not just on Steam either. There is we do have the site on itch.io where you can actually get the game without having to go through Steam's client if you're really fussy about that sort of thing. And we only use the Steam API for achievement support.
I see.
So if you're not actually, if you haven't got Steam Online or something, or if you just don't like DRM, the game's okay with it. It's not, we don't lock it to DRM for that sort of thing. We like to be the good guys like that. So, but yeah, in terms of getting through Greenlight, took about 1.5 months this time around, from memory. Generally, the votes have been going pretty good, very steady. Definitely a lot of people were into the soundtrack out there. I saw more than a few comments just going on, say, yep, YM 2612, I'm sold. Hit the yes button. And of course, you get a few people that are like, it's 2016 and you got a vertical screen on a horror monitor. Blah. Yeah, whatever.
you can get monitors that rotate, guys.
Yeah.
Get on it.
Do you have a rotate function then?
We do.
Yep.
That's something I was very meticulous to get implemented in the first place. It's been in since GMOS, basically. So that was one feature that got brought over from that side of things. So you can rotate the screen. You can also, if you're running it in windowed mode, you can also set the scale for it. Through the game menu, there's only you can't do like 2.25, so clean scaling all the way, little bust.
What is that, like 1, 2, 4, and 8 or something, or how?
1, 2, and 3,
Oh,
and
2 and
then
3,
3
okay.
is usually big enough for a 1080p, or more than big enough for a 1080p screen. So
Sure.
And then of course once you go full screen, it just handles itself.
Sure.
Joystick support is also a thing. Bit of work to go for future games, I think, in terms code wise, but at the moment it generally works for most people. I've heard on the Steam issues, I think there was a couple of people with some weird joystick setups that was having some issues, but by and large, if you got like a 360 pad or something, it should just work out of the box.
Excellent.
A question regarding that, actually, from a development standpoint, is there some difficulty implementing direct input at this point, or is it easier to implement X input? Or?
It's more, how do I put this? There's two systems in Game Maker Studio for joystick support. The older system that I've been used to for years used direct input, and we by default try to use that, and then if it doesn't detect the joystick at the beginning of the game for some reason, you try to fall back on the newer code. But that does also mean, like, if it doesn't detect your game at all, like once you're in the menu sort of thing, then you pretty much have got to reset the game before you see it work again if you're messing around with settings or whatever. So button inputs and stuff is all reconfigurable, so that's all cool.
Here's a question. Why are there so many bullets, you guys? Is it broken?
So you don't like bullet hell, you say?
Yeah.
Maybe you can just maybe change it so it's just like the bullets are really big, like 3 bullets on a screen, and they're just like really big, and just make them super fast. Anyhow.
We sort of had that for a prototype of the original Zenodyne. The first boss was more of a small thing that moved around and just spat out like the really large bullet over time, and we were just like, yeah, no, we need to change this. So
really large bullets.
Yeah, I could have done maybe a cute Chorencha homage with the first boss. You can trick it into shooting itself with its huge bullets.
That's certainly an idea for future projects. We've got a few things in the works at the moment. I'm trying to personally actually just finish GMOS. That's been in the works since 2011 now, so I really need to get around to it. And yeah, Kaiser and Fox have got a little thing with Fox is dabbling a little bit more in the creative department, so he's taken a bit more of the reins for ideas and that sort of stuff, which will be good to see. And for the enthusiasts about wallpapers and that sort of stuff, I can tell you we are experimenting with that as well. No promises, though, on whether that gets anywhere. We shall see. It's looking good at the moment, though, so...
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I don't have too much else to say here, but it's a great game. Everyone should try to pick it up, I would say, and really happy to have you guys on and talk about this. It has been nice, and hopefully this is going to spur on some more STG weekly episodes too, because, you know, doing this, it made me realize I do miss it a little bit, so maybe I'll be a little bit less lazy, and plus I've been getting back into shmups. I've been playing Moochie Moochie Pork lately, so I might have the drive back again, guys.
Yeah.
That's an insane game.
Yes. I never could clock that one. I got as far as the stage 4 boss, and I think I just got ripped to shreds.
Oh, I should ask, what shmups are you guys playing lately, if any? Or what games are you guys playing? Just for funsies.
HeavyViper could probably comment a little bit more than me. When I've had the chance, I've been doing a bit of a little bit oddball ones, a bit of Delta Zeal, of course, G-Stream.
Nice.
12 Zeal when I've had the chance, and quite a few of the ones that are currently in development and on the forums. Blue Revolver is definitely one that I'm keen to see when it comes out. It's Damo Daxter on the dev forums and another guy's working on that. E. Brodsky's Final Boss is definitely one I'm keen for as well.
Oh yeah,
and some of Gryzor's stuff. We didn't elaborate too much, but the reason for the new Fire Arrow ship is we've got a new green light going for Gryzor's game, Fire Arrow X, I believe it's called, which is more of a caravan sort of shooter that he's actually built himself. So he's done all the artwork and stuff. It's sort of our first attempt as a publishing platform. Definitely a good game to play, though.
Cool. It seems like the shmup development community is kind of like it sounds like they really do help each other. Is it mostly centralized on the Shmups forum, or are there other venues that you guys will meet and talk?
There's a couple of venues. I think definitely the Shmups dev forum is probably the most active area at the moment. Usually, I do have the odd conversation with Monorail over at shmupdev.com as well. There's been some interesting stuff there, and a few crossover members here and there as well. So.
Right. Okay, HeavyViper, what about you? What are you playing lately?
I tend to keep an eye on Steam mainly because, as I said earlier, a lot of cool stuff is coming up. I'd like to give a shout out to Hurricane of the Vast Ray for having the best story of all time.
Hurricane of what?
The Hurricane of the Vast Ray. It's a fairly recent one. It's a mix between caravan shooting and bullet hell, and it actually ends up working quite well. But yeah, I also picked up a Shmups skill test. I've been curious about that one for years, so it's nice to actually finally get into that. Aside from that, Triangle Services, other stuff, any cave stuff that's coming on Steam at the moment. Big fan of Darius Burst Chronicle Saviors, despite my comment earlier. Eschatos, got to give a shout out to that because that's basically the game when I was a kid playing shmups as a kid, Eschatos was the game I envisioned what the future of games would be. So that's something. Most of the time I like to keep it old school though. I often find myself going back to Toplan stuff. Really just love me some Toplan and Xevious. Definitely love.
Yeah, another Xevious fan. There's no one else. No one's out there except me. Awesome,
It's just such a zen game, dude. I can't get enough of it.
Have you played the arrangement much?
Yes, I picked that up quite recently. It's definitely a different feel from traditional Xevious, but
I love it.
I think they nailed it.
I love it. I love it. The soundtrack is just fucking epic. Oh.
My favorite Xevious soundtrack would have to be Arrangement.
Oh,
I
it's so good.
have to say Arrangement, definitely.
So good.
And it's got more in it than just.
My shmup. Oh, sorry.
Best
Shox
imitation
says,
of that theme ever.
Pyox says, "What's your shmup skill test PB?" Mine is 23 years.
But it's subjective though. Like, is younger better in it or what?
Well, I think they're taking the Mickey out of the brain training thing that was big around the same time. I think so.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've got the original 360 version of Shooting Love 2000X with the skill test. Where I'm not sure if what they brought over to Steam was the 4-player one or not.
I believe it does have
the
that.
one that I've got. Oh, okay, because it
does have the multiplayer.
The two-player, for mine, but I think I got to. I think it was about 20 at my best, but that was like a fluke shot I did one time. And by and large, I'm only getting about 25 or 30 usually. A bit rubbish. Got to really polish up my skills with that one a bit more, I think.
Oh man, I may have a chance to do some 4-player shmup skill tests because I'm gonna be attending Summer Games Done Quick. And I'm gonna be last year Iast and I did like a MAME setup, like a MAME/shmup like 360 setup. So I'm gonna try to get some random people to just fucking duke it out in that. Cause I haven't seen the multiplayer in it yet. Like, it's from what I hear though, it's fucking cool as hell. I don't even know how it works really.
Yeah, it's a funny one. Definitely helps with the new release now that it's actually in English. Because I was playing it in Japanese because I didn't understand what half of it was. So, worst one is the one where you have to pick a certain color and the color actually changes every time that you play it. So I'm just kind of running into one and hoping it's not the one that makes me explode.
I see.
Real cool. Kuzo player on the 361, I'm afraid.
Well, hey Frenetic, are you there? I'm not sure if he's here or not. Want to see if you had any final words, but looks like we're gonna wrap it up. It's been real fun talking to you guys. Really interesting hearing about it from the dev side. It is pretty cool, and it is usually fun to have these episodes where we talk with the devs. And also, if you want to make a good shmup, you should probably play other shmups too. Like as we hear, these guys been playing other shmups, indie shmups, commercial ones. You know, you gotta check out, you gotta play the games to actually make a good game, right?
Yeah.
Maybe. Hey, Frenetic, what's up, man? We're wrapping it up.
Hey,
how you doing?
Oh, good. I was just letting you guys take it all away, and good stuff.
Yeah,
STG Weekly.
I was just asking them as a closer what everyone's been playing. What have you been playing lately, Frenetic?
Well, I've been playing Shmup Skill Test. I'm kind of at 23 right now as well. But I've also been playing a lot of Japanese Riichi Mahjong. Plug for my new show. I got the Mahjong Meetup. So we'll be presenting at Anime Expo as a panel.
Oh man, epic.
And I'm going to Evo to play Street Fighter V in Las Vegas next month.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah.
Have fun. Have
fun, man.
Yeah. So as far as shmups, I've got Twin Eagle 2. Very good game. Very underrated game. So Twin Eagle 2, guys. Not even a high score spread on shmups.
Twin Eagle 2?
Twin Eagle 2.
Oh, Twin Eagle. Okay.
Twin Eagle. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Sweet. I don't think I've played that one.
Yeah, I've been playing like Twin Cobra, but that's about it. And a bit of Raiden too there. Glad someone mentioned it.
Nice.
Raiden 2 is special to me because I could not go into a bowling alley, a fast food joint, or basically anywhere without there being a Raiden 2 cab in the corner somewhere. So it's kind of a special childhood game for me.
Yeah, that's what got me into shoot 'em ups personally. Seeing that with the lock-on beam at the Darwin airport as a kid, and also seeing the Raiden Fighters games around the place was pretty excellent. It's a shame they're not around anymore, but it's I can play them on my 360 now, so that's great.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, thanks a lot, guys, once again. This has been covering Zenodyne R, available as a bundle with Xeno Hell on Steam, currently on sale, Steam Summer Sale. They're actually cheaper to get as a bundle instead of the separate game, so just get both games. That'll do.
Just like to
go for it.
Sorry, just like to sneak in here and say that the soundtrack for Zenodyne R is available on Bandcamp for a very reasonable price. So I'll provide the link maybe.
Please do. Any relevant links I would like to have, because I'll throw those up on the YouTube as well. And this will be on YouTube probably later in the evening. Should be in 60 FPS, guys. Yo, I got the new PC, so we're in there for hosting some more STG Weekly episodes. 60 FPS. The game's in 60. It's not in 30. Well, why would your shmup be in 30 FPS? Get out of here. So, yeah.
No. We're good. We're good with that.
It's
60 frames per second.
It's more cinematic though.
That is kind of true, actually. I especially feel that way when I play Dark Souls 2 compared to the regular Dark Souls. The 60 FPS in Dark Souls 2 really throws me off. It's like, it doesn't feel like the same game. It's weird how that works sometimes.
It does feel different. It does. It really does.
Okay.
STG, don't movies you run at 24?
Oh yeah, it drops the original Dark Souls, that's for sure. But it's funny how that works sometimes. Yeah, it's like, because movies aren't in at 60 FPS typically. They're usually like 30, right? Maybe even less than that. I think 25 or something.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Oh yeah, let's not go down that rabbit hole. That's a conversation and a half.
Oh, yeah. Okay, thanks a lot, guys, once again, and that'll wrap it up for STG Weekly 92. Thanks everyone for coming in and supporting the show. We'll catch you around for another one, probably somewhat soon. Probably within a couple weeks we'll have another episode, I hope. So, peace out, everyone.
I hope I didn't bore you guys with technical talk too much.
No, that was great. So, take care, everyone, and we are out of here.
Peace out.
Peace.